Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's John with Cine Park Rangers, the channel where we talk all things movies and theme parks. And because it's the end of the year and we've been talking about theme parks a good bit, and there's a very fun video about theme parks, maybe us actually in the theme parks, coming your way later this week, now seems as good a time as any to look back at the year in review and discuss films that have come out, discuss maybe different genres and those sorts of things, patterns that are changing, hierarchies that are changing, tastes that are changing from general audiences, all that sort of fun stuff. So if that's your thing, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Buckle up and let me take you for a ride. All right, so let's start the video by talking about animation. Animation has been really peak this year, in my opinion. We've had some great stuff from DreamWorks. We've had some great stuff from Illumination with the Mario movie. We've had obviously some really great stuff from Sony with Spider-Man. And even Disney has had at least one good animated movie this year, in my opinion, personally. And I generally try and stay away from reviewing movies movie by movie. I see a lot of movies. There are plenty of channels that do that sort of thing. Here, I want to focus more on maybe the craft itself, maybe theorizing and speculating and those sorts of things versus just outright, this movie was good, this movie was bad, those sorts of things. Plenty of channels do that already. Go watch Chris Stuckman, go watch Jeremy Johns, go watch even 3C Films does a great job with those sorts of things. Those are the three that I watch the most in terms of reviews and that sort of thing. I'll give you my opinion if you guys want it, and I can do more of it if you guys want it. But I think generally speaking, this channel is theme park focused, and we've also focused on movies just because that's my specialty, that's my background, and there's quite a bit of overlap, as we've talked about a million times. So with that in mind, as I go through these lists and talk about maybe movies specifically, if I don't get too in the weeds on a particular title that you would really want my opinion on, I'm sorry. You can comment about it and ask me what I think, and I'll do my best to comment back and let you know what I think about it. So with animation, I think a lot of the animation renaissance, and that's kind of what I think we're in right now. I think we're in an animation renaissance. I think a lot of that came from Sony with the first Into the Spider-Verse movie. And that's absolutely been like capitalized on. You see it just in terms of style with different animation companies doing some different things. Like obviously Puss in Boots took a lot of like notes from Into the Spider-Verse, and so did Ninja Turtles. Oddly, I know people have their gripes with the Ninja Turtles animation. I personally really liked it. I think when I watched it on the big screen, it came across well. It looked finished. I know a lot of people say that it looks unfinished, that sort of thing. It was something that I found pretty captivating, actually. That movie in general was really cool just because I think it's the most realistic take on the Turtles, not from like it's a realistic grounded movie. It's still Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their dad is a rat. Like it's not grounded in that sense, but it is one of those things where it's like when you're watching it, it's the most grounded take in the sense that the brothers feel like they're actually brothers, and they also feel like they're actually teenagers. Like some of them have like voice cracks, and the fact that they use real teenage actors helps with that. Obviously, they're using slang and lingo that's like, more modern and hip and like maybe what the Gen Z kids are actually talking like. Dude, whatever. I'm 28. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough that I get it. I'm getting old. Okay. But that one was great. Ninja Turtles was awesome. I think that too, like some of the Japanese films that have come out this year have been pretty cool. I just saw The Boy and the Heron last week, and it was pretty good. Ghibli movies are interesting for me. It's not a studio that I started watching until way later in life, just a couple years ago. I love the animation. It's obviously very beautiful and whimsical and captivating. The voice acting is always really stellar. Whether you're watching a sub or a dub with those movies, you're going to be getting top-notch stuff. The thing that I have trouble with, and call me whatever you want because I have trouble with it, but the narratives are a little too abstract for me. There's not enough of a through line in a lot of them, and I get that that's the point. Like, I'm not naive. I know that that's what they're going for, and that's part of it, and you're supposed to watch it through the eyes of a kid and whatever. Like, for a lot of them, not all of them, I know. It's one of those things that it's just, I'm learning that maybe they're just not for me. The Boy and the Heron was definitely one of those that was like, I liked it. I thought it was good. for the most part on a technical level, but again, the story just lost me. I was just like, man, okay, great. But then I saw Suzumi, which is from a director that's done a couple other movies that apparently are even better than Suzumi, and I really liked Suzumi a lot. I thought that had much more of a through line. I got it more. I enjoyed it more, and yeah, that's just where I'm at with those. But it's cool. It's cool that they're coming to theaters in a meaningful way and not just getting put on Crunchyroll or whatever. Like I'm loving that we're getting some different cinema these days, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit too. But yeah, just hold that, put it in your pocket. Illumination did the Mario movie this year, which was super sick, and I think that it had all the odds stacked against it, truthfully. You had Chris Pratt voicing Mario, which people were in an uproar about. Just generally speaking, Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. Like, people were up in arms about that until he, worried that he wasn't going to do the high voice and all these sorts of things. And I don't know, man. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong, which, I have my own gripes about that one. I think that movie just did a good job being a Mario movie and not placating to anything outside of that, not just trying to please older fans or younger fans. It was just like, hey, we're a Mario movie. This is what it is, and this is what you're getting, and hope you like it. I think generally speaking, most people really loved it, and that's cool. That's sick. Puss in Boots and The Last Wish. What? That movie had no business, none, going as hard as it did. That's the best animated movie I've seen in a long time. It's one of those things that I didn't expect to be good, and it not only was good, it was fantastic. So if you haven't seen that one yet, it's worth streaming or renting or whatever you can do with it. I don't know where you can watch it, but yeah, worth it. Now with Disney, I just need to make mention that I have not seen Wish yet. It's on my list of things to see, but I did not wish to see it. I'm sorry, that was stupid. I'm sure it's fine. I just don't care. And if I don't care, I'm just not going to see it. That's just kind of where I'm at. It's expensive to go to see movies, so I'm not seeing everything that comes out. But with that said, Elemental was shockingly good. I know that it's really struggled at the box office on the front end, and that's sad, but it just is what it is. It's the landscape. It's the hole that Disney has dug for themselves, and it's really hard to feel sorry for them, truthfully, because they just continue to make decisions that are head scratchers at best and just downright wrong for the most part. So didn't expect it to be good. I waited for Disney Plus, and when I got to Disney Plus, I was like, this is actually a really solid movie. It pulled at the heartstrings. It did all the things that Pixar does well, and I liked it. What do you want from me? I liked it. It was good. Okay, now let's shift gears to the genre that I'm most excited about, which is, they're not really a genre. It's more of just these are kind of a group of films that I took notice of this year that are just sort of back to basics. Let's just make movies again. Let's not make this super connected, intertwined universe thing that Marvel, that everyone tried to replicate from Marvel, the past 5-6 years. Let's not do what Disney's doing. Let's not do even what we've been doing in the past, but let's just get back to making movies that we're proud of and that are good and solid and people are going to go enjoy because they look like good movies. I think that obviously the kind of big one with that is Oppenheimer. It's one of those where it's a Nolan movie, yes, but it's not a Nolan movie in the sense that, it's not like Inception or Interstellar or something that's a little more superfluous. It's a very grounded film. I think that people just got really excited to see something that wasn't connected to Star Wars or Marvel or DC or whatever, just any of these legacy film franchises, these juggernauts that we've just been inundated with for the past 10, 12 years and that keep getting revived, like Indiana Jones. Talk about that in a minute. Oppenheimer, it was one of the big movie. It felt like a big movie, and it's cool that we got a big movie that's completely not attached to anything like that at all. It's exciting. And another one that was like that for me personally was The Creator. And I know that a lot of people didn't care for The Creator, but again, for me, it was just one of those things where even if it wasn't the most original in idea, it's still executed in a way that's really, really crafty, that's really scrappy, and that feels like a filmmaker that really cared about what he was doing. You're going to get my praise just on those merits alone. So yeah, that one was really cool. Dude, Godzilla Minus One just a couple weeks ago came out. I talked about it on That Park Place. If you don't subscribe to That Park Place, go check them out. I'm a contributor over there, and they do some great work and cover some great news and all those sorts of things. So go check them out. Godzilla Minus One is a movie that I generally had no expectations for. I was just like, Godzilla, and we've been getting the Godzilla versus Kong nonsense that's been coming out for the past 5-6 years. I like it in its own right. It's fun. But what Godzilla Minus One did so well was give me human characters that I can connect with and care about. Godzilla and Kong do not talk. And they shouldn't talk. Like, let's not go there with it. Like, they shouldn't talk. But it's you can only connect so much. You just have a group of people being like, they're the hero, and this other monster's bad. Are they all not like, 80 stories tall and destroying everything within, like that they're around? But Godzilla Minus One did that in a way more grounded way, with a very human story, with a very gripping narrative that just lets you in on the main protagonist, what he's going through, what he's thinking, the circumstances that drove him to where he's currently at, and why he's doing what he's doing to get where he's going, trying to figure out if he even knows where he's going, all those sorts of things. Like Godzilla Minus One, even if you don't like Godzilla, it's just it's one of the best movies this year. Just go watch it. Just go watch it. Go watch it. I can't talk about all of them, but The Holdovers, I just saw that. That's really, really good. Asteroid City was one that I had fun with this year. That's kind of more of a back to the basics, just like, let's make a fun film. And it's Wes Anderson. It's a very Wes Anderson movie, like to the highest degree, but it's fun. It's slice of life. That's what one of my buddies said, and that's the best way to describe it. It's just good. Killers of the Flower Moon. If you haven't seen that, it's a tough watch, but it's worth your time. It's very, very good. If you're into horror movies, Talk to Me is very good, and I love that because it's the Rocka brothers, and they're from YouTube and all that sort of thing, and it's just cool to see people that started on YouTube making feature movies that are getting recognition from the likes of Jordan Peele. Dude, that's just a win. That's a win for any filmmaker. It lets you know that no matter what your humble beginnings are these days, you can really make something of yourself if you find the right people, connect with the right folks, and have the talent to make a movie. Every movie is a giant problem that's just constantly being solved, and if you get to the end of the edit and you have something that's even kind of worth watching, it's a miracle. It's just cool that movie is as good as it is, and that some YouTubers made it. I just love it. I love it. I shouldn't just call them just some YouTubers. They're filmmakers. Now let's talk about some of the suffering franchises. Oh boy. I've kind of refrained from talking about this, and largely because it's just all around. It's just self-evident that this is happening. I think the superhero genre, it's been said that the superhero genre is dying. I don't think that that's true in the slightest. I think what's dying is this half-baked garbage pumping machine that has become the MCU, or even the DCEU, or DC, whatever it is. These things have just become caricatures of themselves. I would say that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the only exception this year, and that's probably solely because James Gunn was like, I don't want this to really have any major implications in the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just want to have my last movie be my last movie, and let the people that I've been doing it with the past 10 years have a really good time making it, and let them go out on a good note, And I know that some of those actors are probably going to come back for future stuff, and that's great, and I would love to see more of Star-Lord. I would love to see more of Rocket Raccoon. He's one of my favorites. I love Marvel. It's tattooed all over my leg. I love it. I just have an issue with the way that they've been doing stuff lately. They've completely lost sight of what makes people care about these movies, and it's their characters. If you watch The Boys, then you'll know that every now and again they'll do these VOT movies that come up in the beginning of the show, or like the beginning of an episode, and it'll be these real superheroes within that universe playing themselves in a movie about them. The Marvel movies feel like that just in real life. It feels like they've just made these characters shells of what they once were. Or worse, it's a brand new character that feels like that out the gate, and they're not getting a proper chance to shine. I think as much as I enjoyed Moon Knight for what it was, I think that they did a lot of that to Oscar Isaac. You have a top shelf actor playing a character that has multiple personalities, is crushing it with what he's been given. But if you gave him better material, how much better would that character be? How much more memorable would it be even? Same with Shang-Chi, you know, like that's a pretty fun character. And Simu Liu's playing him great, but you can only do so much of what you're given, you know? And it's not that even Shang-Chi, the first movie, is like, it's not necessarily the worst Marvel movie that's come out in forever. In my opinion, it's just kind of forgettable. Yeah, it was fun, but like, we haven't heard anything from that character. There's no implications that he's even coming back or anything like that. I'm sure he will. But you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those deals where it's like, this whole thing has completely fallen in on itself. And that's so sad and depressing after the run we got up through, I would even say, past Endgame. I think that probably the last truly great Marvel movie, we'll go Guardians 3. I did enjoy watching that one, but the last one that made me just like, you know, I was like losing my mind was Spider-Man. And that's probably because I love Spider-Man, and it just is what it is. The boy is always going to get me in the theater, and the boy is always going to, I'm probably going to love it, even if it's not great. I still love Spider-Man 3. And boy, oh boy, did they mess up my boy Indiana Jones. Man, they did to Harrison Ford what they did to him in Star Wars, dude. They made him a drunk, like, deadbeat dad who doesn't care anymore. And it's just like, dude, why are we doing this? I'm just tired, man. I'm just tired of this stuff. I feel like I have these conversations with my buddies all the time. I don't want to come on the channel and just seem like I'm overly negative or anything like that. I also don't want to be overly positive. I want to be fair. I want to be critical. I want to be thoughtful about the things that I say on this channel, because at the end of the day, it's a reflection on me and my opinions and how I think about movies and theme parks and all that sort of stuff. And it's very nuanced and an approach how like my brain works with all these things, even especially with Disney right now. Like I'm super conflicted about all of it, and I can get into that in a little bit too. This whole video is actually kind of about Disney in a weird way. I'll get around to that in a sec. But with Indiana Jones, it's just another one of those franchises that they killed it. They completely crushed it, in my opinion, on this last movie. It's fine. It's not a bad movie. I just don't care, dude. I just don't care. Like it should have just ended on Last Crusade. You know what I mean? Like they should have just left it there. And then with DC, you had Blue Beetle, The Flash. Did Black Adam come out this year, or was that last year? I think it was this year. Was it? I don't know. That should tell you everything you need to know right there. And oh man, Aquaman comes out like probably this weekend or something. Dude, that movie is going to bomb. I'm calling it here now. Oh man, that movie is going to not do well. And it's funny because the first one, I'm pretty sure, made like over $1 billion. Let me check that real fast. Yeah, the first Aquaman made $1.152 billion. It's fine. Aquaman's fine. It's crazy that it made that much money, at least to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But Aquaman 2, after that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, bruh. And not to mention, no one cares at this point because the Snyderverse is effectively dead. Blue Beetle was fine, you know, it is fine. I'm just tired of fine movies. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, anyone else, like, just tired of fine movies? I'm over it. But all that to say, it's been a good year for movies. I think overall, genuinely, I think it's been a very good year for movies. The ones that have sucked, they've sucked spectacularly. Some movies are going to be bad. You know they're going to be bad, but they're fun anyway. Probably the most fun theatrical experience I had this year was watching that Thanksgiving movie. We saw that like 3-4 weeks ago, like right before Thanksgiving. That crowd was awesome. Some people hate this, but I love when crowds are kind of vocal with the movie, as long as it's respectful, right? If someone's just like having outbursts after outbursts and it's obnoxious, that's a different thing. But if the theater as a whole is reacting in unison to what's happening on screen, that's fun. And that's what this movie was from beginning to end. It was so much fun. Like, things would happen and people would be just cheering, crying, laughing. It was great. It was fun. It really was. That was probably my favorite theatrical experience this year. But all that to say, go to the movies still. So many people are not going to the movie theaters anymore. Maybe it's just because I am what I am and I love movies the way that I love them, and I probably always will. But going to the theater is fun. If you make it an evening, go get some dinner before or after, whatever, and then go see your movie. The looks you can give your friends during the movie is fun. If like you can tell if you're like riding the same wavelength or thinking the same things about what's happening on the screen. All those sorts of things are just, they're not as replicable at the house, because when you're at the house, and I watch a lot of movies at the house too with the same friends and everything, but there's like this odd reverence that you get when you go into a theater versus just like sitting on your couch where you sit every day. You know what I mean? But I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this would all sort of be a commentary largely on Disney. And I think that the whole point of what I'm trying to say with this video is the landscape is changing a bit. And I think everyone else that's not under the Disney umbrella is beating Disney at their own game. I think they're doing it with movies. I think Universal especially is doing it with theme parks. Disney is in a dire situation currently. And I know that Bob Iger has come out and said that like they need to get back to storytelling and ignore or not spend so much time on the messaging or whatever. It's one of those things with Iger where this is like the third or fourth time he said this and nothing's changing. And he's the head honcho. You're the CEO of Disney, bro. Like the buck stops with you. So the people that are in charge of these franchises that are quite frankly running them into the ground, especially Star Wars. Marvel seems to be course correcting a bit, in fairness, especially Echo. Like I'm very, very excited for Echo. And you know what? Heck, it's 5 episodes they review all at once. I'll watch it all and I'll do a review. Why not? We'll review Echo. Just solely based on the fact that it's so different from everything that they've done so far that I think it's worthy of at least acknowledging. Star Wars, it's one of those franchises where, man, I loved it as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, gosh, did I love it as a kid. And holy smokes, was I so excited when I was sitting in my high school math class in 2014, fixing to graduate high school, when the news broke that Disney had bought Lucasfilm and that they would be taking care of Star Wars because they were crushing it with Marvel at the time. So I was like, dude, this is great. And they have all the money to back it. Like, what could go wrong? So much. So much went wrong, guys. I just want to see good versions of this stuff again. You know what I mean? I don't want to see half-baked, just mediocre, cook it up with ChatGPT real quick, refine it, and then shoot it, and then, poop it out into the ether, which is what they've been doing. But I would much rather it focus on quality stories, even if they're individual stories that don't intertwine, than an intertwined story that doesn't make any sense. Like that's just where I'm at. I think when it comes to Disney, it's tough to not make Disney the focus of all this stuff because they're too big. They're literally a monopoly to the highest degree possible. I don't know how they get away with what they get away with. I mean, I guess it's money, What do I know? I'm just the guy that is talking about this stuff and commentating on it on YouTube. It's just the fact that Disney is at the forefront of it all that you have to acknowledge it. You have to talk about it. And here's the thing with Disney too, though, man. There's so many great folks that work at Disney still. There's so many people that genuinely care about the brand, that genuinely want to see it succeed and do well. And that's the thing. I do too. I think at the end of the day, a lot of this isn't anger or boycotting or anything like that. I still watch all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just frustrating when it's something that you do care about. I do care about it. I think it's fun. I think that entertainment as a whole should be enjoyable and it should be fun. And you shouldn't have to curb your expectations on literally everything that comes out because, it's going to live up to this hype or it's not going to live up to this hype. There are just these connotations that are completely unavoidable these days, and that sucks. But I think that that's what this year has done for me. Because all that has sucked for the past 3-4 years especially, I'm seeing the tide change. That's my gut feeling anyway. It seems like with some of these more original movies coming out that used to be more exclusive to the horror genre, it's kind of transcending that and going in some different places. And I love that. I love that we got a genuinely original Christmas movie this year with The Holdovers. That's super cool, especially as well done as it was. Because of the strikes and everything this year, I'm so curious to see what 2024 is going to look like. A lot of things got pushed, so things that were supposed to come out this year are going to be out in 2024 now, which is cool. We'll just see how it goes. This is just a really long rant, basically, of me talking about movies this year, and I hope you guys like it. If you want to hear me talk and ramble more about this stuff, I'm happy to. I'm still figuring out, all the ins and outs of this channel, and we're going to be constantly trying new stuff. I've got some really fun things planned for 2024 and going into 2024. Depending on how this park vlog does, like we may be doing some more of that. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It's really up to you guys. If you guys enjoy this, if you like the content that I make, please support it. Tell your friends about it. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them to like it. Tell them to share it. All the things. It helps tremendously. I'm just going to be super candid with you guys. There's like 91% of you that watch these videos and are not subbed. I get it, dude. Believe me, I get it. I have so many subscriptions, and when you're tailoring your algorithm, like when you're tailoring the subscriptions that you have to your homepage on YouTube and the videos that pop up, you want it to be populated with videos that you enjoy. If I earn a spot on that sub list and I'm one of the guys that pop up on your homepage, that means more than you know. Truly, it does. That's a really, really cool thing for me. It's been interesting. I'm new to this game. I've been figuring it out for the past like 6 months basically, and it's been a whirlwind, but in the best way possible. I see the trajectory. I see it going the right way. But all that to say, if you like this stuff, please, please sub, like, comment, all those things. Love you. Kiss, kiss. Goodbye. Mwah. There'll be a vlog out later this year from Disney World, and I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll talk to you then. How about that?